Okay, so in this video, I don't have a write-up for it, but what we're going to do is we're going to have, let me make this larger too. All right, so we're going to have the user enter a lower bound number and an upper bound number. So, and then we're going to analyze a bunch of different numbers from the lower bound number all the way through the upper bound. So if we start off at 10, the numbers between 10 and 20 are 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And so there's our lower bound, there's our upper bound. So first function we're going to write is we're going to get the sum of all numbers. So if you add 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, you get 165. There are zero zeros between 10 and 20, but you know, if you had -5 to 5, there would be, you know, the number of total zeros would be 1 right there. Okay. There are the sum of the evens in here, so 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. If we add all those together, we get 90. And there's 6 evens, so 10, 12, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 even numbers. The sum of all the odd numbers, so 11 plus 13 plus 15 plus 17 plus 19 is 75. And the total number of odd numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So really you're just kind of analyzing numbers and doing a bunch of get functions here. So let's start this. So we're going to need what? Using namespace. Okay, so first thing we got to do here is we need to cout, please enter an upper bound number. Oops. Eesh. That's not good. Cn. Cout. Please enter a lower bound number. Cn. Okay, now let's do this. What I'm gonna do int upper bound equals 0, lower bound equals 0, and I'm gonna have a temp variable here. It's equal to 0 at first. And I'll show you why. So everything gets screwed up if they enter this as the lower bound and this is the upper bound because of the way that's going to work. So what we'll do is we'll flip them if they mess up. So we'll do, and this is a good, you know, how to, you know, just on how to change numbers from swap numbers from one variable to another. So we could do if the lower bound is greater than the upper bound. Okay, so you should always, well, not always, but you definitely like should learn how to swap numbers. And so if I just go, you can't, so when you're doing this, let's say that this is larger than this. You can't just assign, you know, you can't just do, you know, lower bound equals upper bound and upper bound equals lower bound. That won't work because the minute that you assign this into here, it removes all the data that was in here, and then you would basically just be assigning upper bound to itself. So you have to do a temp variable. Okay, so first thing you do is you'd say temp equals upper bound, and then you would say that the upper bound is equal to the lower bound, and then the lower bound is equal to the temp variable. Okay, so that's something that's definitely useful, knowing how to swap information. So then here we'll do a set sum even odd method, and we'll pass in the lower bound and the upper bound. I should have done it like that. And when we just got a bunch of couts, then cout lower bound we'll do sum of all numbers get sum numbers, call it. And again, we're going to have to define all these methods and our functions and all that, but we'll do total zeros get total zero and I'm kind of just following off of this. Sum of all numbers, total zeros, sum evens, sum evens, get sum even, sum even, total evens, and get total evens, and cout probably some odds, get some odd, cout total odds, get total odds, we got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we got 8 of those. All right. So we're gonna have a void set sum even odd, but we're gonna pass in these. These are gonna be integer variables, int. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Then we'll do these ones. So these are all going to be my gets. So int getsumnumbers, and then we'll return. What are we going to return? Get some numbers, and we'll return, we'll say tot sum. And again, I'm kind of doing this backwards because I got to program it all in here, but I'm just trying to get these done. And I'll have to define those variables too. So, and then what was it? Int tot sum. Okay. Now we'll go back here and we'll do get some numbers, and then what's next? It's, you know what, I'm just going to do all these first and then I'll go back and define the variables. So int get total 0, then we'll return what? Total 0. Int get sum even, and we'll return the sum even. Then int get total evens, return the total evens. And int get sum odd, and we'll return what? Sum odd. Sum odd. And then int get total odds, and we'll return our what? Total odds. Total odds. Okay, so then get some numbers, then get total zeros, get some even, where's that? Get total evens. Get total evens. Get some odd. All right, so that's that. So then we're going to do all of our variables here. And I'm just going to put these, you don't have to put these all in different rows, but say that's equal to 0, that's equal to 0, and then what? Total evens equals 0. All right, I think we have all of our variables. All right, so now we can actually get to the logic and code. I mean, this is just asking for information and setting it up and then getting all of it to display it and calling all of our different methods, our functions down here, and returning the information. I mean, this is really the heart of the program, what we're trying to accomplish here. So we're going to say what? We're going to say, so I need to have some sort of I'm going to say number here is equal to the lower bound number, okay? Because remember, the point of this is we're going to analyze and go through each one and add them up depending on whether they're even or odds, or figure out if there's zero or whatever, okay? So we're going to say if our number is not equal to 0, and did I define number? I'll define number right here. Number is equal to 0, okay? Okay, so that's good. So if our number is not equal to 0, and so this would be like the number 10. If it's not equal to 0 and the number is modulus 2 equals 0. So it's checking to see if there's a remainder. If the remainder is 0, that's an even number, okay? Then what we'll do is we'll sum up all of our even numbers. So 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. 2 goes into 10 5 times with a remainder of 0. 2 goes into 12 6 times with a remainder of 0. So all even numbers are going to have a remainder of 0. So that checks to see if it's an even number. Okay. Then what we'll do is we'll add them all up. Okay. So the first time through it's 10. All right. And so then the total evens will be plus plus. Okay. So that's the total evens. Else if number modulus 2 is equal to 1, meaning it's an odd number. So like 11, 2 goes into 11 5 times with a remainder of 1. Okay, so then we'll just do sum our odds and add up our total odds. Else it's a 0, and we can say total 0 plus plus. And since 0 doesn't add any value to our even or odd count, then it's not a big deal, so we just do that right there. And then finally we do number plus plus, because we want to go with 10 to 11 to 12, 13, 14, 15. So this, you know, all it's doing is just adding up, you know, the total sum of every number, the total evens, sum. So wait a second, what did I not do right here? The only thing I didn't do was basically a while loop, which screws up everything. But anyway, yeah, let me think about this. So we need to do a while loop going from the lower bound to the upper bound. But anyway, this is all the logic to it. So let me think here. So this is going to be the tot sum is going to add up each number. Tot sum plus equals our number. So it'd be 10, 11, 12. So it'd be all of them for our tot sum. And then this is going to do, you know, the evens, the odds, and then the 0. And then we'll go to the next number. So while our number is what, less than or equal to our upper bound. Okay. Let's see that. Yeah, I think that will work. So let's try this. So if we do, if I don't get any errors, it's kind of a lot of code to write. So if I have a, so if let's say I have 10 for the upper bound and 20, remember it should swap. So the lower bound's 10, upper bound's 20. So does it come up with the same? So 165, 0, 96, 75, 5. Yep. Okay, and so then if I do upper bound is, let's do it again, just make sure our swap works. If I did 20 and 10, then same thing. Okay, so anyway, that's kind of how you analyze a bunch of different numbers, and you know, the programs are getting a little bit longer, a little bit more complicated, you know, some more logic with our if-else structures, and while loops going through numbers, you know, 10 to 20. Now, what you'll typically see is a program like this with an array of numbers, and you have to run through every element in your array. So anyway, this video is done.